Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Milton's Monday Motivational Message. Hey, look, how many of you are familiar with what I think is one of the funniest movies that's ever been made? A movie entitled Major Payne with David Wayans. Maybe I think it's funny because I've lived that life. But there's a scene in that movie, Major Payne, where a kid passes out. Chaos breaks loose. People are screaming, and Major Payne calmly looks around and says, "I don't see the problem." Right? He didn't see the problem. Now, that line for me was an extremely funny line. But today, it hits in a different sort of way. Because there's a lot of noise right now about DEI. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. Being stripped from agencies and corporations and universities. Okay, all right, okay. People are upset, people are anxious, people are divided, and I'm watching it all unfold. And I find myself saying, I don't see the problem. I don't see the problem, right? Look, now stay with me for a second. So, when we look at DEI, well, check this out. Before there was DEI, before there was affirmative action, before there was corporate inclusion offices, before there were diversity statements, Black Americans, minority women, immigrants, Native Americans, Latinos, Asian Americans were already building America, baby. I know what you're talking about. With less access, less funding, less protection, less opportunity. And still, excellence showed up. Now, where did DEI enter the structure? Well, let's get some historical stuff going here. So, 1964, right? See, what is it? The Civil Rights Act signed under Lyndon Baines Johnson. Lyndon B, we call him in Texas. I mean, 1965, Executive Order 11246 introduced affirmative action requirements for federal contractors. But from the 1970s and 1990s, corporate diversity programs expanded. Early 2000s, diversity and inclusion becomes formal HR structure. Post-2020 DEI, oh man, oh gosh, DEI becomes institutionalized across corporate and federal sectors. So structurally speaking, DEI is modern. But minority excellence, oh man, what? Centuries old. Let me say it again, centuries old. Look, check this out. 10 examples of excellence before affirmative action and DEI. Let's educate, not argue. Education. Mary McLeod Bethune founded a school for Black girls in 1904 that became Bethune-Cookman University. No DEI office, just discipline and vision. What about in medicine? Charles Drew. Let me say it again. Charles Drew pioneered modern blood banking during World War II. That's right, the blood supply system we all rely on. His innovation. Surgery. Daniel Hayes Williams performed one of the first successful open heart surgeries in 1893. Check it out. No federal diversity policy, just skills. Get it. What about industry? Madam C.J. Walker, first self-made female millionaire in America, is what I've been told and I've read. So is that true? Yeah. Built a haircut empire in the early 1900s. No inclusion department, just entrepreneurship. Agriculture. Bigger than a peanut, George Washington Carver revolutionized crop rotation and architecture. Agricultural science, baby. Built economic sustainability for Southern farmers. Space and engineering. Katherine Johnson, ever heard of that name? Oh, come on now. Sure you have. If you haven't, you need to. Her calculations helped literally put Americans into orbit in 1962. Chronicled in the movie Hidden Figures. Before DEI, before hashtags, just brilliant. Computers and technology. Mark Dean, bet you a lot of you guys hadn't heard this guy. This cat was the co-creator of the IBM personal computer. Architecture. In the 1980s, the PC revolution. He helped design it. Music. Come on now, we got music all over the place. But we're going way back. to some Louis Armstrong, baby, huh? Changed global music forever. Jazz is now an American heritage, isn't it? Athletics. Come on, Jackie, let's get it. Number 42, I think it is, Jackie Robinson, huh? Integrated Major League Baseball in 1947. Guess what? No DEI council voted that in, Courage did. Food innovation, George Crumb. I like that first part, George. Crumb, ha ha. I don't know about that one. But anyway, George Crumb invented the potato chip. What? Can't eat just one. Ever heard that? 1853. Simple, iconic, enduring. Look, guys, check this out. Here's the real message. So when I hear that DEI might be reduced, I don't panic. You know why? I don't see the problem. Because excellence does not require permission. It requires preparation. It requires resilience. It requires discipline. It requires respond and rise. Long before policy, there was perseverance. Long before inclusion statements, there was internal strength. Here are 5 powerful U.S. Army examples of excellence. Long before DEI, affirmative action, or formal inclusion programs ever existed. Look, when opportunity was limited, but performance was elite anyway, man, come on now. The Buffalo Soldiers, America's first black professional soldier. After the Civil War, black regiments were formed in 1866 and became some of the most disciplined, effective units in the United States Army fighting in the Indian Wars, protecting settlers, building infrastructure, and later serving overseas, despite segregation, lower pay at times, inferior equipment, open racism. I mean, they earned over 20 medals of honor. No DEI office, just excellence. Henry Johnson, World War I, war hero. In 1918, Johnson fought off a German raid single-handedly while wounded and saving his fellow soldiers from capture. He killed multiple enemy soldiers using, bad boy, his rifle, his knife, and his bare hands, man. What? France honored him immediately. America didn't recognize him fully until nearly 100 years later. But the battlefield always knew his value. What about Benjamin O. Davis Sr., first black United States Army general, commander, 1901, served over 40 years in a segregated army. Commanded troops in World War I, promoted to brigadier general in 1940. Now, when most bases were still racially divided, he did all this. He didn't rise because of policy. He rose because of performance. And Doris Miller, come on, Navy, get it, boy. Doris Miller? They call him Dory. Look, hey, enlisted war hero, changed the military. Naval hero. Miller named an anti-aircraft guns at Pearl Harbor in his honor. Isn't that awesome? Come on, man. With no training, shot down multiple enemy planes while rescuing sailors. No DEI there. First black sailor awarded the Navy Cross. His bravery helped force change in desegregation of the armed forces, guys. So excellent created change, not policy first. And what about Vernon Baker? You guys ever heard of Vernon Baker? World War II combat legend? As a paratrooper in Italy, here's what Baker did. He destroyed multiple enemy positions, led assaults under heavy fire, saved wounded soldiers repeatedly. His unit broke through a German stronghold others could not. He was a Medal of Honor winner decades later due to racial bias. They delayed this award, but that's okay. That courage was always real, though. You see, the leadership lessons that we can learn today, long before DEI institutions, affirmative actions, inclusion policies, diversity offices, minority soldiers were leading, fighting, innovating, saving lives and winning wars. With fewer resources, with more obstacles, with zero institutional support, and still they rose, and still they performed. Excellence never waited for permission. Excellence never depended on policy. Excellence always depended on preparation, discipline, and resilience, which is the heart of Respond and Rise, right? So balanced leadership perspective is incredibly important. So let me be very clear. DEI programs were created to address historical barriers, right? That's good stuff. They were meant to widen access, incredibly important. They were meant to correct structural imbalances. Isn't that just the right thing to do? I mean, it's just not only history, it's real. Isn't it okay to do? But here's the leadership lesson. If your excellence depends on policy, your foundation is weak. If your excellence depends on preparation, no one can take it from you, right? So don't worry about that stuff, man. Keep it moving. Because in combat, no one asks about your background. Only one question matters. Can you perform? It isn't always fair. We're not talking about fairness. We're talking about performing in spite of, not just because of. And standards, right? That performance standards, that applies to everyone. Men, women, black, white, immigrant, native born. Here's what time it is, guys. Time to show people in the world what you're made of and who you are. That's what your ancestors did. They did it with way less resources or opportunities. So excellence is inclusive by definition. So get out there, get it done. This isn't new. So when I hear the noise, when I hear the panic, when I hear the outrage, I channel Major Payne. I look around and I say, I don't see the problem, right? Because I know something. History has proven. We've been responding, we've been rising for generations. Policy didn't start it, policy won't end it. That's just kind of how that works, right? Hey, check it out. This message challenged you? Good. Leadership should. Why don't you guys go ahead and subscribe to the channel? Pass it on to those folks who out there who might need this and want to hear it, all right? Hey, listen to my podcast, Failure's Not the Problem, for all you Audible folks out there. And visit me at my website, americansfairycommand.com. Want to reach out to me personally? americansfairycommand@gmail.com. And go ahead. Don't forget, check out my books, Failure's Not the Problem. It's the beginning of your success. That's the truth. Failure's Not the Problem. It's your leadership. And my two children's books, Is Georgia a Failure? And Failure Grace and Her Failure-tastic Experience. So remember, success comes and goes, failure stays. I train people to respond and rise. As your coach, guys, I'm here to help you use your failures to become all that you're meant to be. Now, drop down and give it 25 push-ups. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Hey, look here. Until next time, you guys take care. It's Major Failure-tastic signing off.